Imagine walking into a tunnel so long, so dark, that you can't even see the light at the other end. The air is thick, the silence is suffocating, and every step echoes like something, or someone, is following you. But the worst part? People who have entered this tunnel haven't always made it out. Welcome, my nightmares, to the haunted, horrifying legend of the Hoosac Tunnel, better known as the Bloody Pit. Deep in the Berkshire Mountains of western Massachusetts, the Hoosac Tunnel stretches over 5 miles of cold, damp stone. It took over 2 decades to build, and in that time, nearly 200 men lost their lives. Some were buried alive, some were burned, some drowned in the darkness beneath the earth. And if the stories are true, not all of them stayed buried. One of the worst disasters happened in October of 1867, when an explosion rocked the central shaft. The blast set the hoist house on fire, destroying the only way out for the men trapped below. As flames raged above, the shaft flooded, swallowing 13 men in total darkness. They didn't die right away, though. When their bodies were recovered months later, evidence suggested that they had built a raft to try and stay afloat. They were found huddled together, suffocated in the stale, airless void of the tunnel. Imagine that, trapped in the pitch black, waiting for death to take you. Maybe that's why some say their voices still echo in the tunnel to this day. But the Hoosac Tunnel isn't just a graveyard. It's a hunting ground. In 1865, 3 men were working with nitroglycerin, dangerous stuff, when something went terribly wrong. 2 of them, Ned Brinkman and Billy Nash, were killed instantly. The 3rd man, Ringo Kelly, was the one who set the charge. Some said he did it too soon, whether by accident or on purpose. But before anyone could question him, Kelly vanished. For months, no one knew where he had gone. And then, his body was found deep inside the tunnel, strangled to death. No witnesses, no suspects, just his lifeless corpse lying exactly where Brinkman and Nash had died. The workers whispered about ghosts, about revenge from beyond the grave. After all, no human was ever caught for Kelly's murder. But that wasn't the last time something, or someone, claimed a life in that tunnel. In the years that followed, more workers reported strange occurrences. Footsteps echoing when no one else was there. Tools disappearing, only to turn up in places no one had been. And the worst, the voices. Men swore they heard whispering just over their shoulders, muttering words they couldn't quite understand. Some of them claimed the whisperers were calling their names. A few workers quit on the spot, refusing to go back inside. Others tried to ignore it, until one of them saw a figure standing deep in the tunnel. A man in ragged, burned clothes, staring at them with empty, blackened eyes. The deeper you go, the worse it gets. The air turns heavy, thick with something you can't explain. Some say it's just the damp, but others swear it's something else, like an invisible presence pressing against your chest, making it harder and harder to breathe. Some who've dared to walk through have reported sudden nosebleeds, pounding headaches, or an overwhelming sense of dread. The kind that makes your skin crawl. The kind that knows you don't belong there. Then there's the woman. Not many people talk about her, but those who have seen her never forget. She appears just at the edge of the tunnel's darkness, where the light fades into nothing. She doesn't move. She doesn't blink. She just watches. If you step closer, she vanishes like smoke. If you turn away for even a second, she reappears further down the tunnel, waiting. And the few who have been brave or foolish enough to call out to her, they say she smiles, not a kind smile, not a warm one, a slow, knowing grin that sends ice straight down your spine. Strange lights flicker in the darkness, tiny glows of blue and white, like lanterns carried by unseen hands. At first, they seem like tricks of the eye, just faint reflections on the damp stone. But if you watch long enough, you'll notice them shift, drifting through the tunnel, hovering just above the ground. They never stay in one place. They don't sway with the wind or flicker like flames. And sometimes, if you stand still and wait, they begin to move toward you. Maybe it's just superstition. Maybe it's all just stories. But the thing about stories is, they usually start with a truth. And with nearly 200 men buried beneath the mountain, their bones lost in the cold, wet dark, who's to say they aren't still there, watching, whispering, waiting? You don't have to believe in ghosts to be unsettled by what people have seen and heard inside that tunnel. The wails of men screaming in agony, shadows that move when no one's there, lights flickering in the distance, only to vanish when you get close. Some workers flat out refused to go inside after dark, and those who did, well, some of them came back out different, like the case of Frank Webster. In 1874, Frank was hunting near Hoosac Mountain when he disappeared for 3 days. When they found him, he was in shock, trembling, his rifle gone. He said something had attacked him, something that whispered to him in the darkness, dragged him into the tunnel, and stole his weapon from his hands. When they checked him over, they found bruises all over his body. Who, or what, did that to him? Even those who wanted to prove there was nothing supernatural here couldn't explain what they saw. One night, Dr. Clifford Owens and a construction superintendent went into the tunnel to investigate the rumors of ghosts. And then, through the darkness, something appeared. A figure, floating above the ground, glowing with an eerie blue light. It had no head, no face, just an empty space. Today, the tunnel is still in use. Freight trains rumble through, the only real sign of life in a place otherwise frozen in time. Walking through it takes over 2 hours, but that's only if you make it all the way through. Some people turn back before they reach the end. Some never go inside at all. And some, well, some hear something whisper their name and go missing. It's not just the ghosts people are afraid of. Some believe the violence and death that soaked into the walls of this tunnel invited something else, something older, something darker. Maybe that's why the hauntings never stop. Maybe that's why, after all these years, people are still seeing things, hearing things, feeling things brush against them in the pitch black. If there's something demonic lurking in the depths of the Hoosac Tunnel, it's been waiting a long time for fresh souls to claim. The Hoosac Tunnel is more than just a passage through the mountain. It's a tomb, a place soaked in tragedy, mystery, and something far more sinister. Nearly 200 men died, carving this path through the rock, and their presence lingers in the suffocating darkness. Ghostly whispers, shadowy figures, strange lights, and the chilling legend of those who never made it out alive have turned this tunnel into one of the most haunted places in America. So tell me, my nightmares, would you dare to walk through the bloody pit? Would you listen for the voices in the dark? Or would you run before something reaches out and pulls you into the shadows, never to be seen again? Until next time, sleep well, if you can.